Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyle here with another Rage Shadows video, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about epic characters that absolutely require books. These are good epics that people always recommend, but they need books or you're just going to be very underwhelmed by them. The reason why I'm making this video is I see a lot of these epics being recommended, but after using them with and without books, there's certain epics in the game that are good, just, regardless, and I recommend them to free to play and newer players, really, and then it's not really that big of a deal. Whereas there's some characters I recommend that specifically I'm like, hey, this is a great character, but you need to fully book them or they're going to be significantly worse than what I am recommending. So with that being said, let's start with the list. So the first character, this is the one that immediately comes to mind to me when I think of a character that is a great character, but absolutely needs books. And that's Seal Skull here. Because I got this guy relatively early. I obviously don't really use him anymore. I found upgrades, in my team. But he was a staple in my clan boss comp for quite a while. And when I pulled him, I was excited. Everyone talked about how good he was, and I didn't have books on him, and he was very underwhelming. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just not my gear or whatever. But after playing with him for a long time without books and then finally getting him booked, it was a massive difference. And this is the kind of character that really incentivized me to make this list. And so let's talk about why that is, why he's just so underwhelming. And the big reason is going to be, so what he's bringing to the table and just how big of a boost we get when we actually book him. So everything about his kit screams that he needs books. So for example, here, this would be a 5-turn cooldown on his A3 if we didn't have it booked, which is massive. You want this, a move like this. He has this increased defense buff on all allies. Ideally you'd want this on a 3-turn, but 4-turn, you'll take it, I guess. It's still a good buff to have. Not many characters have it on a 3-turn, so just being able to get it, period, is actually pretty sweet. But 5-turn is just unplayable. On a 4-turn, you can work with it just because it's such a powerful move. And then next is heal here, having this on a 4-turn cooldown, so 5-turn, and then this on a 4-turn. This is such a great move to have consistently. It being on a 3-turn is going to mean that it is in complete sync with the clan boss. When he punches, you have him go first, or he can't be the one getting stunned. Then you immediately cleanse it. If that character is really important to your team, then you absolutely want to have this on a 3-turn. If you have it on a 4-turn, then you're always going to be missing it, and it's just not a really effective strategy to rely on something that only happens every other time. And then lastly is going to be his A1 here. When you first if you use him and you don't have him booked, you're going to think that he's just a support character that doesn't really do that much damage. But once you have him booked, it massively changes just how much damage this guy can do. When it comes, going from a 10% chance to a 25% chance is a massive, or what is it? I said 25. 35% chance on that. Is just, they're in two different ballparks. His damage is actually really good. He's more of a damage character and then utility side. When I first saw his kit and used him, I was like, okay, just solid utility character. But in reality, he's a really good poisoner that brings a lot of utility. So you get both sides of it, which is rare. And that's why he's recommended so much. But if you don't have this booked, then you're just going to be getting a guy that brings utility inconsistently on a 4-turn and then on a 3-turn here, even though mainly this is his really good move is going to be this guy, but since it's on a 4-turn, it's not great. So if you don't have him booked, you're getting mediocre character all around, mediocre damage, mediocre support, mediocre, but once he's booked, then he's a good damage dealer with that extra bonus of support. So that's why he easily makes the list for a character that's amazing, but absolutely requires books. Okay. So the next on the list is going to be Skull Crusher. So this one doesn't need anywhere close to as many books as Seal Skull does, but he absolutely requires books for what he's trying to do, which is this counterattack thing. This needs to be on a 3-turn cooldown, 100%. If it's not, then it's just not nearly as good. It's just, I think this is pretty self-explanatory, pretty obvious. Clan Boss goes 3 times. It has 3 different moves. You want your moves, especially something this powerful, to be synced up. There's no excuse. 1 book. You get really unlucky, it's going to cost you $5, but this is one of the best characters in the game. Absolutely book him. It's no question, but he's not nearly as good as what people think without books. And just as a side thing, but my first counterattack character, I didn't pull him until way later, but my first counterattack character was Valkyrie, and how painful it is to get to this cooldown here. I ended up, it took me, I got all of the books all the way down to 1 left, and had 0 here. I was getting super lucky. And then it ended up all my books went all down here, and then finally hit the cooldown. I think it went all the way down to the last bit. It got to a 50-50. But point being is I'm well aware of how having a 4-turn counterattack move is, and it's painful. You don't want to do it. If you are lucky enough to actually pull one of these counterattack characters, hopefully you do. If books are an issue for you, hopefully you pull Skull Crusher or you pull Martyr, because they make it very, very easy to book. But a 4-turn counterattack is not fun. So the next character on the list is going to be Stag Knight. Great character, but the difference between having this move here, because the main reason why you're bringing Stag Knight is going to be this A2. A fantastic A2 ability for a lot of dungeons. Reduce attack and reduce defense. Great ability. 100%, no question about that. But it massively reduces its effectiveness if you can't rely on it. You need to be hitting the whole wave. So he's going to be considerably better with books, let alone the cooldown reduction. Having it on a 4, it's such a massive difference. Even outside of clan boss, the difference between a 3-turn and a 4-turn cooldown. This needs to be on a 3-turn cooldown, in my opinion, and it needs to be 100%. So you absolutely have to book it. It just sucks that he has this move here, which is not great, not bad either. But for an A1 to have this, it sucks that there's so many books that you can hit here, but so that's unfortunate. But at the same time, this absolutely needs to be booked, in my opinion, to get use out of him. He's just going to be in a lot of. I see a lot of people gravitate towards this guy. I think he's absolutely worth investing in. Having the combination of defense and an attack down is fantastic on one character like this. Okay, so next on the list is going to be a kind of combined one between these two characters, and what these are is they're attack down characters for clan boss, and the big ones are going to be Sindel and also Jareg here. So both of these characters have the A1 where they're applying an attack down on their A1 for mainly used for the clan boss. But out of the characters that apply the attack down, that's like their main reason why they're on the team, those two require the most amount of books to make it actually a reliable amount of percentage. For example, if you look at the other ones like Tyrell is one. He has a 2-hit that has a 40% chance, just straight up non-booked. Obviously gets better with books. And then also Padma over here has it Padma has it on an 85% chance when if it's critical. So you're obviously going to have to get the crit chance up, but non-booked, it's still an 85% chance, which is fantastic without any books on it. It goes up to 100 with books. But for these characters, they're amazing characters. Like Sindel is probably the best one out of all of them and was accessible through a fusion just because of how versatile she is with other moves while having this increased defense and block debuffs and attack down. So I like her the most. If I had to choose one, if I was making a new account, this would be the one I would choose because I can use her in so many other ways. I can not only protect the team through attack down, but then I can get the defense down too. Also the block debuffs. You get so many very valuable things for clan boss out of this one character. But having this on a 5-turn cooldown is unacceptable. Having this is a very cool passive. Just getting more out of it is going to be good. And then having this on a 40% chance, but you see Tyrell was a 2-hit 40% chance. This is a 1-hit 40% chance, which is just not going to cut it when it comes to a move like this. So that's why she's easily on the list. And then Jareg is a worse version, in my opinion, of what she's doing, where she's not only doing attack down, but then also survivability around it, where his version is ally protection plus increased defense, and then he has a passive here, which is the continuous heal. But for this, a 35% chance 1-hit is just not going to cut it unless you book it. So that's why both of those two characters make the list. Don't get me wrong, they're amazing characters, but do require books. Okay, and then so next on the list, we got some dwarves here that are very good, but I'm going to need these books. First one's going to be Grizzled Jarl. So he's getting a lot of the big draw to this character is that he has a 3-turn defensive cooldown, like I was saying earlier, how impactful that is. So he has it. Not only that, he has block debuffs, which is great. He's used in unkillable teams. He's used in just standard clan boss teams. If you don't have a character like Altan would, for example, make this guy almost useless unless you're using him in like an unkillable team, because he would have the attack down and the increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. If you look at his kit, if you don't book this guy, he's garbage. He's completely trash because 5-turn cooldown on here, 5-turn cooldown and a 75% chance for the decreased attack. And then also here too, this doesn't really matter for clan boss, but having a heal reduction is pretty nice. but having it on an A1, but only having it on a 35% chance of it applying is just not that good. So main reason why you bring them is this move here, 5-turn cooldown. You absolutely need the books in it for it to be useful. The whole point is that it's a 3-turn defensive cooldown. If it's 5 turns, it's not good enough. Just kind of like how Skull Crusher is on a 4-turn, you book it down to a 3-turn, then it becomes really good. And then you also look at this stuff too. The cool thing about him too is that he brings decreased attack, which is nice, but it's not on a A1, so it's obviously not something that you're really going to want to rely on. But just having it, especially if you're in a pinch, is really good. But if you're going to be relying on a move that's on a 4-turn cooldown, it needs to be 100%. You just have to, accept that accuracy might be an issue. But if that's not 100%, then it's just a straight up bad move. Definitely book Grizzle Draw. He's amazing. I've used him in my main, like borderline 2-key Ultra Nightmare team for quite a while. He's now in my Unkillable 2-key team. So very good character. I feel like he gets slept on. He doesn't look, but a good character. I like him a lot. And if you build him, you'll notice he hits very hard. Yeah, like 80k crits. Are not uncommon for him. And I didn't really put crit damage on him. All I did was just increase his crit rate, and he hits that hard. So a very, very cool character. Don't really use him outside of Clan Boss, but a good one. And then next is going to be Rearguard Sergeant here. So I don't have any experience directly with her, but she is a good character and a really good mid-game carry that gets you through dungeons and stuff like that. And also I've seen used in Clan Boss. But if you look at her kit, it just screams that she absolutely needs books. Like you get such a massive boost. You turn this attacks all enemies, and then the decreased attack portion, it goes up from 75 or 50 to 75% chance, and goes down from a 4-turn to a 3-turn. And then this move here, this is a great move, which is applies ally protection and continuous heal. But on a 5-turn cooldown, this move's garbage. On a 3-turn cooldown, this move is amazing. So you absolutely need to book it. Not really much more to say about her, except if you're ever going to use her and you need a carry, you need a book her. Okay, and then lastly on the list, this character, I think this is also a pretty self-explanatory one, but absolutely needs books, which is going to be Maneater. So Maneater, amazing character, is really unlocking the whole, one of the key unkillable comp characters. Him and Rashkard are essentially like the only two. But you look at his move here, a 7-turn cooldown is just impossible to make a unkillable comp around. So you have to book it down to a 5. And then before, I believe, I want to say this probably needed to be booked for the unkillable teams when it was changed, when people are using this. I'm not too familiar with Maneater Unkillable, so I'm not definitely the expert here. But the main thing, though, is absolutely book this move. Is pretty much no question about it. It needs to be booked. He goes from a completely garbage character to someone that could help you 1 to 2 key Ultra Nightmare when you actually get this figured out. All right, guys. Well, that's my list. Let me know in the comments below if there's any characters you think should be added to this list. I think it's really important to get this information out there for people, that when they see a character that's recommended in a tier list or a guide about best epics, and then they use them and they're disappointed because books are hard to come by. And if they knew that this character needed books for him to ever really be good, they can avoid disappointment. So let me know down in the comments below about that. And that should do it for me. You guys have a good one. Peace.